Okay, first of all, I just want to apologise how the style of video is going to be today. You'll see why in a moment, but just to catch you up, my last video was a response to We Are Change's Manchester. Them on the streets raising awareness of chemtrails. Now, that conspiracy theory is entirely bunk, and I don't put any stock in it whatsoever. So needless to say, I told them what I had problems with what they were saying, and I also challenged the guy, "Hey, I'll come on your show. Let's discuss this." So, needless to say, well, I was brought up on Critical Mass Radio. And this is sort of my response to their response to my video. So with that, hopefully, turn the sound up a bit. Hopefully you will be able to hear them what they're saying. But like I say, I will post the link to their show in my underbar, and I'll post the times where they talk about me. Anyway, let's begin.
Really had to wrestle with my conscience what to do with this, and I've spoke to a few of the hosts on Critical Mass Radio, and including Paul Giovanni, of what best to do about this. We did have a response to the video that Alex made for us with We Are Changing Freedom Northwest, and the response that we had, to me, absolutely stinks of a troll.
First little hint for you, Paul. Never call someone a troll just because they respond to you. That is very, very disingenuous. In fact, it reeks to me that you don't want to talk to me in the first place. But why? Well, probably because I've got answers to questions that you have, and my answers are backed up by science, whereas we will go into say later in the video why yours aren't.
If this man who's put this video together, by the name, the gentleman's name is Bowler Hat Man. If anybody wants to go on YouTube and have a look at this video, that he's basically trying to debunk everything that we're doing with raising the awareness into geoengineering. It's only a short video, but clearly this man is a troll in my eyes. If he would have...
What way am I a troll? All I did was say, I have problems with your video, X, Y, and Z. To state normally what happens when people do this on the internet, it's normally a case of they don't like what that person had to say, so they're basically trying to throw ad hominems at them, so to try and disprove them. So far, that's not a very good start for you.
Looked at the directive alone and done some serious research into geoengineering, then he most certainly wouldn't have put the video out to attack what we did over the weekend. I will be playing this the audio to the video that this bowler hat man put out. He did actually challenge me to come on Critical Mass Radio, and to be honest with you folks, I'm not going to afford him the opportunity to do that. Because he attacked me without me being able to defend myself personally at the time. He's also attacked Critical Mass.
Right, okay. You have an opportunity to defend yourself. If you had me on the show, then you have an opportunity to defend yourself. I did a video response to your video. You know, this is apparently your way, which apparently is, according to you, a troll way of doing it. So what is apparently, using your logic, how is this any different to what apparently I did to you? And not only that, you get two other people as well. So that's a bit disingenuous, really, Paul.
Mass Radio, and We Are Change Manchester. So what I'm going to be doing just before I bring me two guests on is I will play the audio. Like I said, it's about 4.5 minutes long. As soon as that's finished, I will be bringing me guests in, and for every point that he has tried to debunk us on with regards to geoengineering and chemtrails and the ill effect it's having on the population, I'm sure we will be more than be able to clarify and put what he said to bed with scientific research that's already been amassed around the world that we can throw at him. So I'm looking forward to doing that, actually, folks. I was a little bit annoyed when I first...
Again, how is this fair when, again, using your argument, you're not giving me an opportunity to reply? Now I'm going to make this video and I'm going to put it on the Critical Mass Facebook page and I'll send a copy to you, but how is this in a way sort of fair? As I've said, my offer still stands. I will come on your show and we'll have a proper rational debate. In fact, as I said later on, Olga, I will gladly have a debate with her and you can moderate, Paul. I will gladly do that.
To be honest with you, I thought the cheeky little bugger. But at the same time, it also shows me that we are most definitely making headway and we are most definitely on the right track with what we are now doing in upping our game with regards to the awareness event and knocking on the doors of officialdom, i.e. the police and mainstream media. So I will be playing that in about 10 odd minutes just before they bring the guests in. What I'm going to do now, folks, is I'm just going to pop another tune on, and not long after that I will be playing the audio for Bowler Hat Man and his response to what we did in Liverpool. So just bear with me 1 second, folks, and I'll pop my next tune on.
Right, hang on, just skip forward.
Hello to everybody that's in there at the minute. Hello, sis. I forgot to give you a mention and a thank you for being at the event as well. Monday, mates, for Al went to do yesterday after we had a Skype talk, was he was going to go to the county council there.
Your lack of evidence.
There I am.
Before it becomes a... You then go on to say, high amount of aluminium.
That alone proves the fact that cancers are on that. I don't know what went on there.
Well, ridiculousness. I'll be more than happy to come on and discuss it with you and prove what an idiot you are on air. And hopefully I'll be able to wake people up myself and show them what an idiot you are and what your lack of science knowledge you are espousing.
That's sort of the end of the video there.
You're making people stupid.
Oh no, I haven't paused it. There we go.
Right, that was cut a little bit short by himself, that. I don't know what went on there. Right, hopefully I've got me two guests on with me now. First of all, I'll just make sure that I've got them both on. Al, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic, good to have you here, mate. Olga, are you with us?
I'm here.
Fantastic, all's gone smoothly. I must admit, when I get to this point where I'm bringing my guests on, I get a little bit nervous just in case I've not hooked either of you up or any of my guests up. But I've got you both there, absolutely fantastic. Did you manage to listen to that audio that I've just played there?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Right, fantastic. I've actually jotted down just a few little things in response to the video that we put out. One thing, we did not mention a cancer in specific. We said cancers in general. Now, BBC, where most people seem to get...
Again, why cancers in general? There's, again, there are numbers of, again, there are different types of cancers, as I said in my video. And you're saying that, what, spraying is doing it and aluminium is doing it? How is aluminium doing it? Again, you're raising more questions than answers.
Their sources of news from, they themselves admitted that I think the year was 2020. By the time we get to that point, it will be a 50-50 chance of anybody getting cancer. So that alone proves the fact that cancers are on the increase.
Well, first of all, no, it doesn't. I tried looking for that BBC article and I couldn't find it. But given the usual conspiracy theory jaunt of basically misreading and, well, misquoting articles, I will not be surprised if I do find it that you have misquoted it and that it gives a reason as to why that rise is. And I guarantee it's nothing to do with spraying.
Like I said again, it didn't state any particular cancer, just cancers themselves in general were saying.
Again, there are different types of cancers, so saying cancer in general, still not acceptable, really.
Certainly on the increase, and have reached epidemic proportions. I'm sure we'd agree with that, saying 50-50 chance of getting that. And again, with the epidemic...
Now, they say 50-50 chance, but I guarantee it'll be to do with diagnosis rates or early diagnosis rates. You know, again, as I've said, we do not know what causes cancer. Well, we do know what causes it, but we don't know what the actual root cause, so to say, is. And I guarantee it's nothing to do with aluminium.
Epidemic of Alzheimer's disease. The BBC, yet again last year, announced that we do have an epidemic of Alzheimer's and dementia within this country.
Yeah, we also have an increasingly ageing population. So is hip and knee replacements also an epidemic? Because you banned that word around and you're not you just banned it around. You're just saying, it's an epidemic. Are, you know, as I've said, are hip and knee replacements an epidemic? Because we're getting an ageing population. And dementia and Alzheimer's are on the rise because we are having an ageing population.
And people, even in the 40s and 50s, are getting struck down with Alzheimer's disease, to the point of the BBC are now actively encouraging with the Alzheimer's Association.
It makes a point where you're about to mention the Alzheimer's Association. If you go on their website, you will actually find the point of aluminium, where it says, in my last video, where I said about it. Also, you're mentioning people in their early years are getting aluminium. This is true, but again, if you go on the Alzheimer's Society, this is more down to genetics rather than some external influence. But even the Alzheimer's Society go on to say that everyone is capable of getting Alzheimer's. No one is exempt. It has a lot to do with your diet, your mental activity, and things like that. But everyone is suspect. And as I said, we have an ageing population, and this is a big part as to why there has been an increase of Alzheimer's.
Association for people to become Alzheimer's buddies because the care system just cannot cope. So basically, if you know somebody that's got Alzheimer's disease, you can actually become their unpaid carer.
No, I think this is the end of this part.
So, I mean, I'm sure you two guys can bring a little bit more to the mix on this in a minute. I just wanted to quickly read out a few points. Again, with the levels of rickets within the country, the BBC, yet again last year, stated we have reached epidemic levels of rickets within our children. Now, to throw it on the flip side of the coin, we could say that this is down.
Yes, we can say, because, again, if you bother to read the medical journal, which that BBC article quotes, it even goes to say the further studies were to do with lack of sunlight, of exposure to them, with suntan lotion, and a lack of vitamin C, also the lack of calcium, because, again, young children are not drinking bones. But again, if you bothered to read that BBC article, you would know that.
Down to sunscreen, this could also be down to the fact that our children aren't playing out as much as they used to due to the video games that they're now.
I also have to stop it here. You know, why is this not happening in other European countries? Because it's not. It's not happening in any other European country. It's happening in less developed countries, but that's obvious reasons for diet reasons. But if you're talking Western industrialised countries,
playing. But one thing that he negated to mention in his video was the fact that NASA have admitted since the mid-80s we are now 22% dimmer on this planet as fact than we were back in...
that still doesn't stop sunlight coming through. If you're in a dark room and you turn a dimmer switch down, there's still going to be light coming through. That doesn't affect, again, the amount of light that comes through. It may, well, particularly the UV rays that are coming through. It's going to affect light, but certainly not UV rays. So, and also, if that is the case, we're getting dimmer, then there should be an effect on plants as well. That certainly isn't the case, and I haven't read anything to the contrary, whereas that states the case. Now, I think he's done here, but we'll just play it to the end.
Back in the 1980s, so, we know that it's the natural source of vitamin D. I'm sure you can bring more to the mix on this, guys, in a minute anyway. Now, with regards to him talking about soil samples, on the video, nobody mentioned soil samples whatsoever.
Yeah, but soil samples are what you normally bring up when I discuss this with people. So, and you didn't bring up any samples in the first place anyway, so can you blame me really for saying soil samples?
What we did mention was the water samples, Olga, which we can...
Again, the exact same applies with the soil samples. Water samples, no two water samples in either parts of the country are different. Again, you mentioned the parts down south. Well, believe it or not, down south, there is an increase of iron in the water. Compared to the further north you go, there is a decrease in that amount. So again, it hugely matters as to where you are getting the samples from.
Obtained from your site, which you'll discuss again later on in the show. And obviously there was a few more things there with regards to chemtrails and clouds, but I really didn't want to entertain this, man, but I believe it's important that we equally shed the light.
So you're not going to entertain me, but then you'll gladly send me a link to this and then say that, oh, you know, I'm not going to have him on my show. At the moment, you're being quite a coward, and you say that the other people told you not to go on. That says a lot about this entire radio station, that they are not willing to have anyone with an opposing view on their radio station. Heck, the BBC has people with opposing views on, if you want to mention the BBC, and they have debates on this all the time on the BBC. Well, not about chemtrails, but they do have debates against people with opposing views. And this is to anyone who listens to Critical Mass. You should want me to have on the radio, because don't you want this guy to, you know, eviscerate me on the air to prove his points? So you should want me to go on as much as I want to go on.
The light on the fact that there are trolls and debunkers out there who are...
Again, he brings up the troll. Sorry, I'm not a troll. I'm just stating there's an opposing view, and I'm giving you more science, and you're raising more... You're bringing up more questions than answers at the moment.
Attack us at any given opportunity. Would we agree on that?
And I've just pretty much rebutted all your points. And again, particularly with the cancer one, you didn't really answer the question. But anyway, he finishes there, and we go on to...
We feel as if we're not doing a great deal. Yes, I might...
Page into our notes, and we have, you know, oil, but the whole aerosol program that's for us. So we're...
A Skywatch site there as well. Phenomenal work you're doing there, Olga, and I'm sure... and the
FITCH actually address all of the points that the gentleman, the very nice gentleman...
Now, let me just thing it here. Olga mentions that there's a leaflet. Now, I will be doing a separate video on this leaflet where I will address all those points. But for the time being, we're going to concentrate on this, because, oh my god, what she says coming up soon.
Who was on the video at first, was raising, because I think that, you know, he came from a very, you know, I don't think he really looked at our site or read the directive. So he's not very informed, but they are the general questions that people...
And neither are you informed in science.
Do have when they're faced with what we're saying. So I think it's really good to address them, you know. And the flyer does actually address all of those.
Absolutely, Olga, and that's one thing that we've said off, haven't we, when we've had our conversations, and I've indeed had a conversation with a few of the hosts today, and just to see where to go, whether I should actually have played that audio and give this young gentleman any airtime whatsoever. I do believe we have an obligation to do that as well. I certainly won't be having him on as a guest. I'm not going to certainly waste my airtime debating this with him. But equally what you've just said there, Olga, with regard...
And my only conclusion is that you are scared to have me on air, because I think you are not willing to stand up to your points when you are challenged on your points. And this goes for the entire Critical Mass Radio. You are too scared to have anyone with an opposing view on your radio station.
Regards to the flyer and indeed the directive, if the gentleman who's tried to debunk us and attack what we did on Saturday, if he'd have took the time out just to look at the flyer and indeed digest the directive there, then he most certainly wouldn't have put the video together if he'd been knowledged himself, you know. So,
well, if I had knowledged myself, I would certainly still be attacking you, but I would probably have more ammunition to fire at you, probably, with the points on that sheet, if I'd read it beforehand. Like I say, I'm going to do a separate video on that.
So, sorry.
No, sorry. I mean, I can go over some of those points, just to do that. So,
that'd be fantastic, please do.
So the first fact is that air pollution is the biggest killer in the UK. And here I'm quoting statistics from 2010 state 29,000 premature deaths resulted in air pollution. 58% of particulate matter pollutants were identified as coming from ground traffic, yet the source of the remaining 42%, that's aviation emissions, was completely ignored, and heavy metal and other particulate testing must be prioritised. You know, we need to do that, and there is...
They do. Again, I'd recommend you go and speak to a mortician in a mortuary, and they will tell you exactly what they do.
They're refusing to test the air from aviation emissions. Okay, so, and he did have a little bit of a cough there, so he might want to look into those facts.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about, you know, the sunlight reduction, as you know, there's global dimming and, well, the hazing out and blocking of the sun, basically, is producing a lack of vitamin D, and, you know,
I've already addressed why.
You know, the doctors do recommend now that children have to take supplements because of global dimming. And the thing...
It also comes down to the fact that children aren't drinking as much milk as they used to. But, you know, let's not mention that. Shh.
And the thing about the clouds, well, you know, clouds are actually generated from the more...
Oh, wait a minute. This is excellent, because basically what she does now is she debunks herself. And I will explain why once she's finished, but bear in mind what she just says in the moment.
The moisture on the planet and oceans, and it raises up, and that's how clouds are formed. But
slow clap. Well, clap. Congratulations. You've just debunked yourself. What is the number one emission? Well, byproduct from airplane engines? Water. Where does that water go? It goes straight into the atmosphere, creating the contrail. And you've just said exactly what happens. And airplane engines are becoming more efficient, meaning that they're creating more water.
But as we see now, most of the clouds that we see are actually produced from planes that leave these trails, and they form clouds.
No, not all the clouds are being, you know, formed by these, you know, planes, you know, contrails. And a contrail is always a straight one, unless it gets blown by the wind, and then it turns into a different cloud.
Clouds. And if you look on satellites, there's also ship trails.
Ship trails? Sorry. This is the first time I've ever heard of ship trails being brought up, but you're referring to satellites. So are you confusing the... I forget what they call it, the turbulence that a ship creates when it's going through water with clouds? Because unfortunately, unless it's a funnel ship, and I don't think there are many funnel ships still in service, they all have their engines in department underneath. So I'm very scared. Like I say, I'm not too... I don't want to comment it too much because it's the first time I've ever heard of it, but oh my word, that is ridiculous.
Coming in, and I'm going to be posting some of those on the page soon. And as you can see, the ship trails are actually out to sea, are close to England, and then there's also chemtrails on top of that. And so you can understand now how the clouds are actually formed over the oceans, exacerbating a chemtrailing and ship trail.
First of all, you've got to prove that they're chemtrailing in the first place, and again, you've had no proof that there are chemtrailing in the first place. So, again, they're creating clouds. So what? And if, oh yeah, by the way, if you do want to bring up ship trails, then guess what their byproduct is? It's carbon dioxide and water mixed together. And guess what that creates? Well, again, it creates steam. And guess what steam does? It rises. And eventually it dissipates. It's the exact same what contrails do. So, at the moment, you're not impressing me much with what you just said.
And so every other day we should get a blanketed cloud over UK now. We have not got...
Blanketed cloud over the UK every day. Oh. It's quite clear today, to be honest. There's some clouds over there, but oh my, those don't look like contrails at all. In fact, I believe those are what they call cumulus-stratus clouds. Anyway, back to the video.
Not got a proper summer at all. I can go on, but I'll take a break then.
Yeah, valuable information there. And I think the one thing there that I did pick up on from the video that he did is can we distinguish between a contrail and a chemtrail? Well, obviously, of course we can. You know.
No, you can't, because you've got to know what. Like, you know, you've got to know for certain that that's a chemtrail, and none of you. And you go on to point out, even yourself, you don't tell me what a chemtrail, actually is.
You know, all he's got to do is just look at the facts, and he clearly hasn't looked at the facts of what.
Why should I? If you know, you're apparently exposing facts. You know, what if there was a new listener and they said, facts? What facts? Because that's currently I'm like, what facts are you talking about? That's, if you want me to shoot something back at you based on that, I can't fire a lot back at you because you're not telling me what the facts are.
What causes a contrail, because he never mentions anything to do with the atmospheric pressure that causes the condensing of the water vapour in the first place. I mean, we won't go too heavy into that.
Yeah, congratulations for again telling us how clouds are formed, debunking yourself.
That all he needs to do himself is just look into that one fact itself. But just to pick up on something that you've mentioned there, Olga, with regards to the differentiation between geoengineering and chemtrails itself, and there are two totally separate things that are going on. Obviously, the chemtrails are the visible lines we can see with our naked eye on any given day. And obviously, the geoengineering, which what you're saying there, Olga, we know they have other methods of creating false cloud effects, yeah? With,
oh my god, creating false cloud effects. Oh. You've just explained why clouds are formed. Oh. My god.
Which they're doing out at sea, which they're doing from hot air balloons, and so on and so forth.
They're doing from hot air balloons. They're doing from hot air balloons. How often in the sky do you see hot air balloons?
Or, too much to go into in the short time that we have left on the show. But simply, all he needs to do is just look into that itself. But there's one other thing that I did pick up on. He did mention that he is a child of the 90s. Now, we know that
this is funny. This is funny what's about to happen now.
This programme has been ongoing since the 90s, the mid-90s. So, from his own personal point of view, without slating him too much, he would not know any difference from the skies of certain people of a certain age compared to what he's used to seeing in the sky.
Yeah, I've heard this argument before, and it's ridiculous because you've got to take two things into account. Air travel has continually gone on the increase. Air traffic has increased. Hence, you see more planes in the sky than you would 10 or 20 years ago, even 30 years ago. And yes, there are photographs of World War II bombers, not with jet engines, but with propeller engines, creating contrails. This has been an established fact since, flight has been in progress. There are pictures of World War I fighters with contrails.
And with regards again to another thing that I picked up and he mentioned is the age group, trying to say that a year 7 child would have a better understanding of clouds than we would certainly have.
Well, again, as I've said, you've debunked yourself twice, so at the moment, I really do wonder about, are you smarter than a 7-year-old?
We have with regards to the guys at Critical Mass Radio and We Are Change. Now, when I was a child, I think there was a maximum of 7 to 9 cloud formations.
You get taught those, but there are more. The further you go on to if you took your education further and you went into climatology, they would tell you more about those clouds. Again, as a child, you are taught things in increments. You're not given everything straight away because there's just too much information for someone to process. It's how you learn anything.
Now, National Geographic brought a book out a couple of years ago, and there was over 50 different cloud formations, and I actually sat in the pen.
That's not shocking at all, really. You know, if people can identify different cloud formations and establish a pattern in those cloud formations, then yes, you could name your own cloud formation, Paul. You could call it the FITCH cloud.
House with my sister, and we actually looked through this book and we couldn't believe what we were seeing with our eyes there, Olga. And 90% of the pictures that we were seeing we could identify as chemtrail cloud formation.
Again, you have done nothing at all to tell me the difference between a chemtrail and a contrail. You have done nothing to prove that whatsoever. If I was debating you in a debate, this would be brought up. I do a lot of debating and public speaking. You wouldn't get any points for what you've just said.
Yeah, we've got the propaganda machine kicking in, teaching our children now in schools that they're actually, you know.
No, let me give my thought on that. You're saying it's a propaganda machine kicking in to teach our children. No, it's because science is always advancing, and as I said a couple of moments ago, if you can establish cloud pattern and formations, then, Paul, you could have your own FITCH cloud. You know, or you could call it the Real Solutions cloud formation.
There's more than 9 different types of clouds. There's now over...
Oh, I thought there was 7, but now it's jumped to 9. Oh, well.
50 odd different types of clouds. So, unfortunately for our school children now, they are being taught that this is natural, and we know it's far from the case. So, I hope that helps to solve.
Yeah, being taught by geography teachers who have gone and studied this.
Also, viewed the questions for the Bowler Hat Man. Right, guys, I'm really...
Oh, and that was Paul Fitch on his Real Solutions radio show. So, Paul, I'm less than impressed with your questions. I answered every one of your rebuttals. You created a lot more questions than you actually answered in the majority of the time. You failed, I'm sorry to say. Again, my thing still stands. I will go on your radio show. I will debate Olga. I will debate you. You can moderate the debate between me and Olga if you want. I will. In fact, this is a message to any of the critical mass people. I will go on your radio show. Have someone who has the opposing view. You know, let's debate. What are you so scared of? Are you scared that, you know, someone has an opposing view? Oh my God! I'm sorry, but at the moment, you're looking very, very intellectually dishonest, all of you.